Hello, this is Gerald van Was. I'm sure there will still be people who think that letters have no meaning at all, but everybody understands b, l, mm. Everybody will associate things with characteristics with letters, but how to combine them needs a methodical arrangement, and there's an order also between the distinctions that we have between all these significant features that these letters have, and that's why these letters not just have a very superficial meaning, which everybody understands if you really take them out and then even explain them how you associate them, but how to combine them, that's of course something you need to learn, and that's why these videos are also there. And I have already done one video about flowers and plants, and okay, it didn't seem to attract any attention, but I will continue that it's not really random, and that in every letter combination expressed in a word that expresses one of these plants is actually the process how the plant grows also, or how we see the plant, or what is important for us for the plant. And I will give you a few more examples, and of course a little bit longer words and as well. And I will start with lavender. And at the right you have this my basic scheme where you can fall back upon, and yeah, you can already read more or less the positions and how you have to read them to know what kind of balance there is between these letters. It's a little bit more or less like a kind of yin-yang system, also with geometrical associations as well. And the whole system also starts with the idea of our interpretation, usually. So that's why I have underneath the starting vision and the feedback processes as well. So also we already know in sounds of letters, of expressed letters, we also have this distinction between the body of the sounds and the reflection, or the counterpart of feedback process that you can also hear in the higher tones. And this reflection can be seen also in visualization via spectrograms of these letters. So they are there, we can see them in visual, we can visualize them, but of course we will hear them and we will respond to these things correspondingly. The starting vision is if you compare this whole process with plants, and we describe plants, this starting vision is also a little bit like the conditions in which a plant comes forward, and the feedback process is of course the result, or where it will be able to produce after that feedback process of the growth process, where it will be able to produce, in most cases we are talking about flowers or about herbs, then we can of course know that the feedback process in the end, or the last part of the word, will describe that second process, and that will be visible in all of these words. And that's why it's also interesting to see, like, how do we approach the plant, what's the growth process in the plant, how does it look like. All these things hang together, and they also hang together in these letter combinations. Lavender. The first two letters are easy. They are from the first category of visualization of the thing into letters. And the first category of letters are the letters that have a focus in a physical space. What do we need for them? Basically points in space. That's basically what it is. Depending on where the points are, or how many points there is, this is the whole system in the first category. We have 9 letters and also 9 positions, 9 options, 3 positions, middle or in the whole area, or at the borders, in 1, 2, 3 points. It's you have all the variations, and you can start from the center, which is the A, or you can start in the material, which is with the T, L and M, but with 2 points, of 2 points of material there, you have the letter L. That's basically simply almost mathematical theory. Because it's in the region of where the forms are forming in space, it's of course about, we have an orientation in space, so it's about focusing upon material with these 2 points, within these 2 points, somewhere in the region of where all the material can be, we form the material. It is irregular, of course, within these 2 points. 2 points, any 2 points. That's the kind of focus we have a formation of material. The last letter is the letter V, is of the last category of kinds of orientation. It is context-based, as you can read here. It is on the second place, so it will be about also focusing upon that same area where you have the material, what will happen with the material. The last phase will all be about that feedback process, so a reorganization. So it will be a reorganization of the destiny also of the material, of where the material, how the material is evolving, and where it will lend, where it would end in the end. So you have an idea where the material is, but when you have a feedback process, you have to adapt still a little bit, and maybe you have to switch places for the material. So you say, okay, I know now where the material will belong to, in which time and which space. So it is a kind of movement of reorganization of material. That describes the V very well. With L, A and V, it was not very logical to have this combination of forms, because I couldn't immediately see what to do with it. The other way around is much more easy, and I also know words that express it, and that's a vowel. And you have 2 words that immediately come to my mind, which is the val in as a Dutch word, which means fall, but it also means trap. And you have also the vowel, quite related with the English word of valley. And why do I say it's easily combined? I will show you. So you have this moving situation, you have the center focus, and then the material which will have to come with that. So what do? We have this move followed by our focus on this, where we have that move going on, move of material also, but we have a focus, and that material which is part of that focus will move along. In that way, of course, that material will move along with that moving of material. So that material will move, of course it will move to the place of reference that it will get then in the end. That's why fall or trap even is very, very well fit. And valley is of course this movement where all the things will fit into it as a pattern as well, because the V will be used as a pattern that has certain conditions where all the material has to adapt to. There's no other way. Especially the Dutch word here really focuses upon that move, where that it has to move towards that there is no other way. And in the French word, it's more like, okay, the destiny. It's my destiny to. That's a certain destiny in your focus to say, okay, I have a destiny. I have to go to over there. So it's more like a spatial reference, especially in that perspective. But now we have to have the other way around, and I say it's not very logical, because how you have a form first, then a focus, and then that move. So the only way I can see it, because the L is already growing. It is that growth process is on the second degree of the spatial orientation. It is actually part of a growing process most of the time. So the best, and it is with my push of I want to have it examined and an ordeal about it, about forms like how much is this growing. I don't know yet in which direction it is growing, but I prefer to follow my own push forward. Where does it go to? L is that push forward, so that push up, like I have it here, has to be there as well. And then the A, so the A is my focus, which is following what has the most of the form as my end result. So my end result I will put on the top, which is most logical in the process of growth and understanding and how to follow up all the logic in the letters. So I will keep the order that I see here, and so the L with A will get my focus also up, and the V has to follow, and the V has to follow and reorganizes its material from there. So I have this already. So I have the first part, love. A bit more difficult is of course to think, yeah, but what do I have to do with the ender? Whereas the ender has to go into, because there's already a change of material there. And in the pronunciation of lavender, you have lave and ender. It's already a bit in two parts as well. So we have the first part already. The ender, okay, in a way, we know that it has to go to the same place as well. The time frame, which goes up to a highlight, and N takes out something. So something has to come out from that situation we already know. With the repetition of der, that it will go to somewhere and connect there somewhere, is already what we know also, but it is a bit difficult in the interpretation. So what I will do is, before I will make it better, and before I also will conclude it with following the rules a little bit better, I'm just here like the innocent person tries to figure out how can I put all the different elements together. But let's just focus on what is lavender actually, and how do we recognize it. And this will give us also a guide how to continue further to make the solution work as well. We only know that we have the first part, love, which should actually be repeating itself, and the form is forming, and in the end you also have an extra result. Not very clear yet at this point, but first let's go to the definition. What do we know with lavender? It is associated with the violet color as well. So we have very much the association of this bright violet coming towards us in the bright sun as well. And also the fragrance, the aromatic smell, which will be very strong. So it is in full sun, and it survives also in a very pretty dry soil actually. And that will give us also a clue where we have to go to. If we see at the lavender, we almost recognize what we actually already have, this moving of material, this loose material actually, before we get something out. But moving also of it could also be moving of ingredients, moving of the sand. It's this loose sand, almost this dry sand a little bit, which on top has the plant, or which gets the results out of the soil, is and makes at the end as the last part the connections to it with the lavender is already a little bit more recognizable. This last part, it is the underneath part, very much fits with the soil and the loose soil and so on, and also the ingredients that come up. In the taking out of the highlighting elements, and then the der is the timed process that we can, that in the end with R we will connect to and will be able to use as well. R is about what will be able to connect to in general. This connection, of course, we will connect to the plant via all of its highlights, the color, the smell, the brightness, all of these features fit to that, making a connection that from the things that comes out. So we have this part of love and ender, of course, where everything actually from ingredients move to the top. And lavender is also not just what the soil produces and what leads to the flower. Lave, as a word, you can go and dig deeper into other words. Love could also remind you of love, as to provide. Lave is also used in laver, which means to wash, to rinse out, to purify. It is what will be provided. In the same way, the lave is what moves the situation to such a degree that we have material that we can use at some point or another, and it will be able to be taken out in ender. And the der, you can also associate, of course, with words which has these references of der, like the door, the opening to. So it leaves you to an opening. You get the ingredients and you have this opening. It's just only a few associations, but together, especially when I will give you more demonstration of more words, you will always see that the description in the letters follows what is most important in the growth process as well of these plants and in the end result of these plants. Already I've had a few examples and I will even provide you with more. But I think this one is also fitting to how we see and to how do we look at the plant and what comes out of it. This loose soil and trying to get all the material together and have all the energy in the end. In the last letter, where the energy comes out and where we connect to, we have we have all what is in it, in its end result, where we connect to via smell and color in this case. Okay, I hope this was clear enough. I hope you also enjoyed it. Some web page of Facebook. There's some web page of web pages. And there's some books as well if you would like to prepare yourself even better in the logic of the letters and letter combinations. Thanks again for watching. Bye.